Okay, now once you can set the ribs together like that on either side, turn the model over and push this part back out along the primary color. And it should get easier from this point. Make sure that these pleats are set properly. And then start to collapse everything down again. Might be easier to start from the middle now when you turn things over. Make sure this folded edge is on the crease right underneath it, one box below. And find that central crease and go to the right of that on the other side. Make sure these plates go all the way to the end when you're doing this. And then pushing in from the back as well to make sure that these aren't getting new diagonal creases added to them. Whew, that was pretty difficult, but it's starting to come down now. To make sure to follow this diagonal here. Take a look at what's happening on the inside here. Difficult to see a little bit, but you've got this diagonal that's coming from the neck down to where the ribs start here, and that's what you're aiming for to finish off this collapse. Okay, right, like there it is. Okay, that's the corner of this collapse. And when you get things moved along to that point, on both sides here, you'll be able to reform the head Make sure that you're folding these arms in half again, like that. And then pay close attention to the ribs here, making sure you're not creating any new creases. And the points of these ribs should eventually line up so that you can fold them in half, kind of how you did the fingers, like that, and then push them into those two pleats right there for the time being. We'll expand those out later. Just be patient with the model. Make sure you're not pushing too hard in any direction it doesn't want to go. Everything's really bunched up right here, but that's as flat as it's going to lay right now, and that's how it should look. Do the same thing on the other side. Get all of the ribs close enough together to where you can hold them, fold them in half, and then push that into the point, that plate above it. Like this, and then hold everything together. In the back here. Okay, so now we have to do these two little spikes that come up on the back here. Now, I was going to include this in the crease pattern, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because you kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. But find this panel, this 2 wide, and then the first pleat, and now you're going to pull. Now you're going to turn it around, do the same thing on the other side, pull that. Now where this, and there's, just make a crease like that on both sides, diagonal going into that corner. So it's 3 mountain folds going into there, and then you make a diagonal crease, valley fold there on both sides. And it makes this little flap, which will shape into a point later on the back. Then do the same thing right below that. On this next flap, pull carefully, pull carefully. Make 2 valley fold diagonals going into that corner. 3 mountain folds meeting up there. And then valley diagonal here. Again on the other side. Alright. Okay, so that's that next step. Let's move on to the legs and the tail. So it's all pretty simple. You have the top part of your model collapsed down like that. I'm just going to take the bottom, open it up here, and then find the bottom corner. And then 2 spaces away from the edge is where this diagonal starts. Just going to start moving this mountain fold along the edge over, and then when you get to this part on the tail, go ahead and fold 1 layer of paper over that point. And continue on to the other side. And once you reach this side, come back the other direction. And just keep going back and forth here for a little while until you've gathered up a bit of paper. Once we get past the detailed part of the claws on the legs and the spikes on the edge of the tail, it's a pretty brief collapse. And then we'll have our finished base. Just looking at the time on the video I have so far, this video is going to be a little bit lengthy. I might even split this part, the collapsing, into 2 videos. I'm not sure. I'll have to get into editing it before I decide, but I know for certain I'm going to save the MC shaping for an entirely other video. So you're just bringing these pleats into the side of the tail, and then this point here is where this diagonal starts to come back. Get everything worked up until that point there on both sides. You're going to start to collapse the next claw on the foot. And then when you get here, kind of press in here at the same time you make the crease going into the tip of the tail a mountain fold, and kind of press everything together carefully. And then once we've gotten a little past that, should start to get easier. From that point on, it's just a one more claw on this side. Hey, I just picked up a new video game for the 3DS, NES Remix, and Ridley happens to be on that video game because they include Metroid. So I guess you'd be able to check out that incarnation of Ridley as a contemporary game character now as well. And I was just talking about a little while ago how those type of platformer NES games are my favorite. Nintendo must have made that game just for people like me. Okay. So once you've gotten this last claw started here, it's pretty easy. From this point, it's just bringing these two diagonals up to the point in between where the tail and the leg meet up here, and making sure that all the pleats get put back together, going up the side into the model here. Just kind of go back and forth between the two sides to keep everything even. And one final little detail here, when you get to the corner, as you remember, the very apex of that, where those diagonals meet, is now underneath a layer. Just bring this up and kind of push all of this underneath that layer, like that. It's just a nice little detail. of shaping for the model to kind of hide that corner underneath that flap. Since it's already there, may as well use it. So after this, the model is more or less collapsed all the way. There's still just a couple of little details to make sure are done properly. There we are. So just come back down here to the tail. Make sure to collapse this down carefully. These kind of push in here. Just going to make kind of this shape here. You just reach in with a shaping tool and spread that out through those layers at the end of the tail. You can't actually lie it flat like that. Alright. Yeah, just make sure that you've got these sunk in. You're going to come back up here to the head. This is the bottom jaw, and do these two little angles right here. So it'd be kind of like some spikes on the chin there. And that's all. Okay, this is the base for Ridley. In the next video I'll show you how to shape everything and get him looking more like the example piece here. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in the next video. Bye for now.